Hi guys, I'm Malaya. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video, as you can pretty much tell from the title, is all about how to manage your time effectively, managing that all elusive work-life and social life balance. I have had my fair share of struggling on either side of that, but hopefully some of the tips that I plan to share with you guys today can benefit you, coming from a second year PhD student to literally anyone. You don't have to be a PhD student. You could be a career professional, you could be an undergrad, you could just be in any field whatsoever. But I won't waste too much time on the intro. Let's get right into the video. I think quite commonly, especially for students, you do have that strange period of time where you're thrown into university and the world is your oyster and you can do absolutely what you want to do. There's no school basically telling you have to come in, you have to be here at 8:45 or whenever it is you start. You have complete autonomy over you, your education, your social life and everything. So I think especially in the beginning years of undergrad, I think a lot of us do go on the side of maybe too much social life and not enough work life. And then coming into my PhD, I definitely went down the route of too much work versus not enough social life. And both extremes do have very negative impacts. One side, obviously, your work is negatively affected, which obviously hinders your academic choices moving forward, your career choices moving forward. But on the other side, your mental well-being as well as your social well-being is very negatively affected. So it was very important to me going into my second year to get that stuff together, basically. I did find myself starting early and finishing late, and then when I come home I would do some more work on my laptop, just because my whole PhD is computational, so it is very hard to turn off, if that makes sense, because I think with wet lab scientists, their work can mostly only be done in the lab. So once they leave the lab, that's it. Whereas me, it's just a laptop. Anywhere I go, there is a laptop. I can be doing work. So that was one of the things that I struggled with. And as a result, in my first year, I didn't really make many friends, particularly outside of my PhD. And I am in a new city, of course, with new people. So that was quite hard on me at the time. But now that isn't the case. I've made some lovely friends. I'm really happy with where life is right now. But yeah, I'll get onto the actual tips I meant to be giving you guys. I'm sure you guys know the importance of it, otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on this video. So I think the first tip has to be setting clear boundaries, whether that's with yourself or with your co-workers, supervisors, friends, whoever that may be. If your working hours are meant to be 9 to 5, then make sure it is 9 to 5. And of course, that's not always the case. Some days you may need to start early or finish a little later. You've got a little project coming up or the deadline is coming up. It's important to remain flexible to a certain degree, but you have to maintain the boundary in the grand scheme of things. So remaining flexible when the time is necessary, but being able to establish that boundary so it's not continually crossed, whether that's social side of things or work side of things. And in order to be able to maintain that boundary, you have to learn how to say no. So if you are overwhelmed or you foresee yourself becoming overwhelmed with tasks, learning to be able to say no to your friends. No, I can't make that event. I'm really sorry. No, I can't do that extra project. Or I can't do it right now, but I'm happy to start it after I finish with the projects I'm currently handling. Or if I'm given more assistance, maybe I can put that project on right now. You know, those kind of phrases can help you begin to establish boundaries and also helps you schedule. And scheduling brings me to point number 2. So there are different kinds of scheduling activities or softwares that you can use. So some of them are more like a calendar template, some are more like a daily to-do list or weekly to-do list. It is important to understand that none of the tips that I'm giving you today is a one size fits all. You kind of do have to shop around and try different software, try different techniques, because some things may work for you and they won't work for someone else. What works for me might not work for you. But definitely scheduling. Although this isn't a one size fits all, I do definitely think that scheduling in particular, out of all of the tips that I'm going to give you in this video, is the most important. And I think regardless of whatever technique or software you use to schedule, everybody needs to schedule at some point. You need to have a clear idea of how many hours or how many tasks you have to complete on the work side of things, and how many social events, or that, you need to have a rough idea of how you'd like to share your time and how you currently share your time. Because if you have no idea, how can you change anything? How can you prioritize effectively? How can you really set goals that you'd like to set? So when I am scheduling, I like to make a list of all of my tasks. Then I start with the smaller tasks, then move on to the more important things, which end up usually being the more bulky things, unfortunately. So I start off. I got this from a scientific paper, and if I find it again, I will put it in the description box below. But basically, the scientific paper spoke about how if you do smaller tasks to begin with, when you can like tick them off, the process of ticking it off actually is like positive reinforcement in your brain. So after I read that, I started to do that, and I'm one of those people where I kind of need a little while to get into the flow of things, which is why the Pomodoro technique doesn't work for me, because it's like you do a bit of work, I think it's for 20 minutes, and then you have a 5-minute break. It's like as soon as I hit my stride, I'm taking a break. That method doesn't work for me. So I kind of apply the opposite of that method to everything in my life, because obviously that's what works for me. So I start with a small task to get me involved in doing whatever it is I need to do, getting my mind serious. And then once I'm in the swing of things, then I tackle the hard, difficult things. And then towards the end, I start doing the easy or the remaining easy tasks again, kind of like some more positive reinforcement. Oh, you did that big chunk. Here's some, easy ones to get through. Now, speaking of the Pomodoro technique and breaks, it is important that you know who you are and what techniques work for you best. And I can do a separate video on that if that's what you guys would like. But it is really, really, really important to understand the amount of breaks you need and how long those breaks should be. Because if you're the kind of person who, if you have a break that's obstructing your workflow, then don't take a break till you absolutely feel like you need to. If you're someone who loses focus very quickly and you need to have breaks, or you need to change tasks and pivot so you don't get too bored, then you need to be able to do that, okay? But you need to be able to schedule that realistically. I know I keep talking about scheduling so much, but it really is important. There's no point setting unrealistic scheduling goals. So when I first started trying to do this, I would schedule like, I'm going to do these 5 tasks, and then take a 10-minute break, and then do another 10 tasks. And these 10 tasks were very weighty, big kind of tasks. And I didn't factor in, okay, maybe certain days of the week, or maybe for an hour of the day, I end up scrolling on my phone. We're all guilty of those kinds of things. But it is important to include that or incorporate that in your scheduling. So for example, if I'm doing like a week-long schedule, I will usually have a day in the week where I kind of catch up on anything I didn't do during the week because I was doom scrolling on my phone or something of the sorts. Now, breaks don't have to always be a doom scrolling on your phone or eating food or anything like that. Breaks can also be self-care. That is very valid. If that is going to the spa, going to get your nails done, reading a book, doing your hair, something like self-care is a valid break. And actually a lot of the time, self-care that involves leaving your study environment and going elsewhere, whether that's within your house or a completely different building or going on a walk or something, probably is actually a lot better. There's another scientific paper that I saw which supports not studying in the same room you sleep. So it means that like once you stop studying, you close your book, you close your laptop, and you go over to your bed, that is somehow like in your brain, that is very different to where you just were. You're not kind of confusing the two or mixing the two up. I will also include that study in the description box below. I think the final point is definitely the community aspect of things. So if you have friends who maybe are not supporting you in your journey, kind of seeing who you are and seeing who you would like to become, then maybe you should have a sit down and talk to them more carefully or kind of reevaluate things. That goes for your workplace too. If your workplace is consistently overworking you and you don't feel like you're being paid enough, then maybe you should seek out opportunities where you feel like you are valued, your time is valued, your yes or no is valued, and things like that. I think it is important to note that in this day and age, a lot of us are addicted to our phones or addicted to social media, addicted to screens in general. So it is also very important that you do accept the fact that you are a habitual procrastinator. And that's okay for now, because you're not planning on being one forever. There will come a time where you fall apart, your schedule doesn't go to plan, or at least you don't go to the plan of your schedule, and that is okay. but learning why that happened and actually trying not to let it happen is the part that really is important here. The adaptability of it, the taking accountability, and everything in between. So even in the aspect of community support, I think that if you have a friend or a coworker or someone who can try and keep you accountable, oh, why are you staying in the office too late? Or I hope you're not still online, or I see you online, what are you doing? Or on the other side of things, you've been partying a lot, maybe we should go to the library together. Those kinds of friends or co-workers are really valuable. It shows that you are in the right place, you're with people who are wanting to grow with you, helping you grow as well, and it's your chance to help them grow. I have some friends who, when they have completed a certain amount of tasks, or they've stayed on their schedule for so and so amount of time, let's say for example for the whole month, then they treat themselves to a certain item that they've been wanting to buy, or they go out for a nice dinner or something like that. So literally just trying to adapt and finding what suits you the best is really all you can do. There's no amount of videos, there's no special creator who's gonna come on here and tell you specifically what works for you. At the end of the day, it's up to you to find it. And if anyone ever says these are the 5 hacks that will change your life, they're lying. You just need to find what suits you. But yes, I know this was a really short video, and I hope that you guys found some benefit out of this. And if you did, I would really appreciate if you'd subscribe, like, and comment, and let me know what other kinds of videos you'd like me to do. But for now, I've been Malaya, and I hope to see you in the next video.